The Real People Convention. The borgcast begins in 10 seconds. WDBC Internet Television is on. I am an avatar for Michael P. Borgia. The borgcast, originating from deep behind enemy lines, is brought to you by dailyborg.com. Conservative politics for the thoughtful. Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. For the better part of the past century, Americans in general and Delaware residents in particular have been governed by a ruling political class. But Republicans in the first state are coming into 2012 with a different idea. No ruling elite this time on the ballot. Instead, Republicans offer us real people. Small businessmen and women. Your friends. Your neighbors. This week, you get to meet them as Kevin Wade and the Republican team accept their endorsements. We'll be back in just a moment.
What if I didn't come from a famous family? What if I didn't have all their support? What if I didn't have all these opportunities? Believe me, it wouldn't be pretty. Pause before you play.
I'm gonna do my best to stick to that 4 minutes. It's pretty hard to do that, being that I've never spoken in front of a crowd before. I'm nervous. No. Mr. Chairman and my fellow First State Republicans, I rise with great honor. I rise to place in nomination the name of the next United States Senator from Delaware. He is a man of integrity. He is a man of dependability. He is a man who has already served the unity of this party well. He is a concerned citizen and not a career politician. As a boy, he shoveled coal in Reading, Pennsylvania, row houses where his mother raised 4 children by herself. He graduated from high school and there, 3 days later, went to work in a steel mill. It was tough, gritty work, but it was work, and his paycheck helped pay the bills at home. He went to college and, when not at the mill, and a few years later came to Delaware. As he likes to say, he was not lucky enough to be born in Delaware, but he got here as fast as he could. He worked for DuPont, finished his degree in electrical engineering, and is a proud Blue Hen alumnus. At the age of 29, he started his own engineering business, working off of his kitchen table. 30 years later, that startup business is still thriving, and over the years has supplied jobs for hard-working Delaware families and made products America wants. And a young engineer who started that business has developed expertise gained from hands-on experience in developing energy resources. Mr. Chairman, my fellow Republicans, he will proudly be the only member of the United States Senate who has actually worked on an offshore oil platform. Along the way, he was lucky enough to be married. Along the way, he was lucky enough to marry a wonderful woman, a nurse, now a nursing professor, who keeps him grounded. And today alone, with their daughter and son-in-law, they will enjoy 2 robust grandchildren who you are likely to meet this weekend. My friends, Washington has failed. It is broken to the 9th degree. It cannot and will not be fixed by tweeting around the edges. Congress needs wholesale change, and we, you, I, are the only ones who can change it. The system works for the career politician in Washington, but it does not work for the hard-working families of Delaware. These are the families that could not take the kids out for pizza on a Friday night because the money for that went into the gas tank. These are the families that will skip the long weekends at Delaware beaches this summer because they need to save every last penny out of fear that their jobs may disappear in the crush of regulatory overkill. These are the families, Mr. Chairman, who must deal with grocery prices going up almost weekly while their pay envelopes stagnate or even goes down. And what do career politicians like Tom Copper do in response? I'm glad you asked. Career politicians like Tom Copper vote to kill the Keystone Pipeline. Career politicians like Tom Copper voted to block American workers from producing own American oil to keep our troops, our money, and our jobs at home. Career politicians like Tom Copper voted to spend $1.1 trillion on stimulus programs that does not work. Career politicians like Tom Copper pipe dreams about green jobs saving America while taxpayers supported soda gas and Fisker, while work crashed and burned because they could not compete with every taxpayer's subsidies, and then we taxpayers pay again. The crony capitalism of Washington, my friends, and its backroom ways must end, and it must end now. The U.S. Treasury is not a tip jar for the friends of Washington politicians. As we speak, Tom Copper is collecting his taxpayer-supplied paychecks for 35 years. 35 years. Just to make sure everybody understands what I'm talking about. Before Chase Utley was born, before Dr. J was an NBA rookie, and days before old Jimmy Carter became president, Tom Copper was on the payroll. The only way, my friends, the only way to end Washington's crony capitalism, the only way to put an end to Congress' broken ways of historical failure, the only way to force Congress to live by the same value that the Delaware family lived by, the only way to do that is change the people in Congress. But Delaware families have a voice. For the solid values of Delaware families to return to Congress, we need to send someone to Washington who embodies those values. Someone who knows what it's like to shovel coal from a house and get it warm. Someone who knows what it's like to get gritty on a job. Someone who has the courage to start a small business. Someone who actually creates jobs in the free enterprise world. Someone who understands how to develop American energy resource and make American gasoline cheap again. Someone who will be Delaware's voice in Washington to end the crony capitalism and put a lid on the tip jar. Well, before I end, I want to tell you who that someone is. Delaware Republicans, today is your lucky day. We have that person. We have that family man. We have that small businessman. We have that job creator. We have the energy expert. We have the real person and experience to solve the problem. His name is Kevin Wade, and he is our next United States Senator from Delaware. You hear? Thank you.
That has to be the most entertaining 4 minutes of my life. You know, I'm going to go off script for just 1 second, but after that preaching, it's time to pass the collection plate. Now back to business. Chair recognizes General Hank McCann for a seconding speech. A 2-minute seconding speech.
How would you like to follow him? Jeez. What he said. Mr. Chairman and fellow delegates, it is with great pride and enthusiasm that I rise to second the nomination of the man who will finally force Tom Carper to find a job in the private sector, Kevin Wade. After 37 years of military service, my love of country is stronger than ever. That is why it has been hard to watch our country sink under the weight of policies Tom Carper has been supporting for 35 years. Policies that have put our nation $15 trillion in debt to fund a government that gives us in return the crony capitalism of Solyndra. Policies that give us government bureaucrats at the GSA who think nothing of spending taxpayer money to live the high life in Las Vegas, while the rest of us are trying to provide for our children and grandchildren. Kevin Wade's whole life stands in stark contrast to the folks running Washington today. I have helped run a small business for 25 years. In Kevin Wade, I find a man who knows what I know, who knows what it takes to build a successful business in the private sector, who knows how government regulation puts barriers in the way to being successful. In Kevin Wade, I find a man who wants to be Delaware's voice in Washington, not a mouthpiece for Washington insiders. I believe by the end of this campaign, the people of Delaware will realize that there is no change in the ways in Washington without changing the people who are there. I believe the people of Delaware will realize that Kevin Wade will bring a breath of fresh air to the tepid air around the Capitol now. I firmly believe they will elect Kevin Wade as Delaware's next United States Senator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General McCann, and thank you for your service to our country. Chair will now recognize John Rollins for the purpose of yielding the floor to Miguel Perez Fabar for the purpose of seconding a name and nomination for the U.S. Senate.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a good morning. Unlike most of you, I'm Cuban born and I'm an American by choice. I didn't make my choice out of necessity, but after years of steep in the unique American culture, I learned that this is really the land of the free and the home of the brave. We have a unique constitution and history as a foundation. I have lived under a military dictatorship, Fulgencio Batista's, and under a communist dictatorship, Fidel Castro's. And I do not wish my children or grandchildren to grow under godless socialism and socialism that forces mediocrity. They have policies that attack the family and religion and undermine the character of the American nation. Now, we patriots are here in Rehoboth to restore our nation to a constitutional rule of law. We are here to rebuild our economic strength in the world, and we are here with unapologetic pride in being the land of the free and the home of the brave. We are rising to restore faith in our own people, men and women, who understand that to trust in God is to mean to a path of righteousness. And we are here to assure that political rule cannot be allowed to rest in those for personal gain and power. We're here to oust the incumbent, who will remain nameless. He who uses his position to feed at the trough for over 30 years in total disregard of the best interests of we the people of this state and of this nation. Today we have a decent and able man who has answered the call to public service. A man who has risen from hardscrabble beginnings, worked in a steel mill, and through persistent dedication and an engineering degree, and a job in Delaware with DuPont. A man who became an expert about solving problems in the production continuum, and much sought consultant operating his own firm. Kevin Wade is well aware of how and why are jobs created, salaries are paid, and obligations met in the U.S. and around the world. A man who knows budgets are made to operate within one means and kept through effort and vigilance. A man with the integrity not to cheat and the knowledge and experience not to be fooled by anyone. A citizen patriot willing to serve in the interest of his country and to represent the needs and wishes of we, the people of Delaware. I am proud to nominate our next senator from the first state of Delaware, Kevin Wade.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a nominee for the United States Senate. Are there any further nominations?
Move the nomination to be closed. Second.
Seeing none, there's a motion to close nomination and a second. All in favor of closing nominations, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. We have a nominee. But before we do that, we need to follow the rules. So since there's only one nominee, according to Rule 619 of the Republican Party, I'll entertain a motion to endorse Kevin Wade as our party's nominee for the office of United States Senate from Delaware. So moved by Dave Gillespie, seconded by John Rollins, and a host of others, mostly from Sussex County. Thank you very much. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. All those who want to see Kevin Wade elected United States Senator from Delaware, say aye. Aye. Mr. Wade, come forward, please.
am thrilled and very proud to be your candidate for the United States Senate. Today completes the first leg of a journey, the first leg of a long journey, and I'd like to point out my lovely bride of 34 years. Gail, would you please stand? I don't have a script to read from, so I'll read from the script of my life for a few minutes. My wife is a professor of nursing, a tenured professor of nursing. She's an expert in what she does. I'm an engineer. I run a small business. I've gone around the world fixing the toughest problems put before me. And yet recently I hear friends of the White House disparage stay-at-home moms. Well, let me speak from my heart and tell you the truth. For every job I've taken, for times I've worked at the equator and at the edge of the desert and in distant places and by myself and 7 days a week, there is no job as difficult as being a parent. You know this, I know this, and we're going to bring family values and a focus on what's important to the future of our children back into the forefront. We're going to honor parents, not disparage parents. We're going to rebuild what's valuable in this country. Because what we have now doesn't work. I know work. I know jobs. I did shovel coal into the furnace of that row house I grew up in Pennsylvania. I did go to a steel mill 3 days after finishing high school, and I was glad for the work. And through all of that, I knew this was a great country, a boundless opportunity. I came to Delaware as a stranger. I made a life. I've come to know the good people of the first state, my friends, my neighbor, my grandchildren now. This has always been a wonderful country. I started a business on a kitchen table, not knowing what I was getting into. And I knew it was a wonderful country. I've grown that business. I've met the needs of customers. I've lent a hand in the Republican Party to bring a conservative voice to the Republican Party, bring common sense to the people of Delaware. And I've always known this is a good and wonderful country. The difference between my views and the views of my opponent is I know the simple goodness of the common folks, the common sense that together will solve the common problems of this nation. The best people in America are not in Washington, they're in this room, they live on your street, they're in our neighborhoods, and we have to bring common sense back to Washington. Now, I've traveled up and down the state and given many remarks. And I've learned that the secret of a good speech is a strong beginning and a clear ending and a very short distance in between. Our work begins today. This is not just a celebration of democracy and a recognition of people who have served the Republican Party and our beliefs. This is a work day for all of us. And I'm going to ask you, my friends, I want to see 50 hands raised that would take a yard sign home for yourself. 50 hands raised right now to take a yard sign home for yourself and one for a neighbor to help get the message out. Okay, at the end of today, go back there and get those yard signs. I want to see 25 hands go up that will hold an open house, a meet and greet, to allow me and my good family to meet your family and your neighbors so that we can carry this message of common sense. Please, thank you very much. Thank you very much, John Sherman. We have so much to do. Our time is short. Our time is short. But today our country is in an abyss. The work of 12 and 13 generations, the sweat and sacrifice all the way back to the beginning, has run through the bad hands of Washington like water through open fingers. It's time for us we the people to stand up and pick up this nation one more time, carry it on our shoulders through this abyss, and set it on a firm and healthy ground. And that's what we must do. The future of this nation is at stake. We can either sit and watch what happens as the final page closes on America, or you can join me and pick up a pen and we'll write the first page in a new chapter of an America that has prosperity for all, no one left behind, energy independence, millions of jobs, and a bright future for all of us. God bless you and God save the United States of America.
One now.
When the broadcast continues, Tom Kovac, Sherval Anzula and Ben Mobley.
When you drive for a living, you buckle up every time, whether you drive one of these or one of these. Truckers know what I'm talking about because no matter how good a driver you are, trouble can still happen. That's when you want to keep your safety belt on to keep you steady, behind the wheel, in control, and looking out for everybody. Safety is a professional driver's responsibility. Remember, you're the one who drives for a living.
A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Thank you so much for your support. I'm really honored to be here as your choice to represent our party in the race for Delaware's lone congressional seat. Thank you. I thank all my nominators and seconders. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your inspiration. None of you need to be told about this is an important election. Everyone in this room knows that this is an important election. We absolutely must and need and will break that one-party rule that has its hold over our state, and we will do that in November. It is our duty as your representatives to make sure that we provide accountable representation for the people of Delaware. The current standard of government is, well, we've always done it this way. As our speaker said last night, the senator from Wisconsin, what has that gotten us lately? What has those promises of the Democratic-controlled state of Delaware gotten us? Are we leading the nation? Are we out where we should be in front as Delawareans? Where are we as a country? Those results are unacceptable. We're here to change that. We need the courage to stand up and make the tough decisions. These choices that we're going to be making with your elected Republican representation in November are not going to be easy choices. They're going to actually be hard choices because they're not going to be the same old status quo. We're not going to continue to promise that the majority of the people are going to be able to ride in the car and have so few pulling it. We will change that. We will make sure that we provide that representation. We need to stand up and stand firm to get the right things done for Delaware and the United States. We need to understand it's our duty in the government to understand the fact that it's not government's job. It should not be, it will not be, and it cannot be government's job to take care of the people of the United States of America. As government leaders, as leaders in government, we need to lead by getting the government out of the way of our private sectors and our citizens to solve the problems of our country. To get us moving in the right direction, we need, as people with power, to relinquish that power, to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of businesses succeeding, of our families succeeding, to encourage job growth. And as you heard Tim say earlier, not the government's job to create jobs. It's the government's job to create an atmosphere for job growth. Get out of the way. We need to change that business climate to allow our small businesses to survive and thrive. The entrepreneurial spirit that makes America great, that makes our businesses great, needs to be encouraged and needs to make sure if you have a small business, you can start up today without 6 lawyers and 3 accountants and 6 business advisors. We need small business to bring back our country. As we've all heard, and all of us in this room share this belief, it's not the government's job to pick winners and losers in industry. It is the American people's job and those businesses to succeed. We must let the free market function, and function with an even playing field. When the government gets involved and picks those winners and losers, it does us a disservice, and it does the rest of our hardworking businesses a disservice. We need to create that even playing field, predictable regulations. As an environmental attorney, I help my clients deal with overburdensome, cumbersome environmental regulations that end up hurting not only jobs, not only our economy, but end up hurting the environment. We need solutions to these energy issues. We need not these feel-good energy policies. We need to make sure that the global environment is helped by keeping our industry here in a clean environment instead of pushing our industry and our jobs overseas by overzealous and unfounded regulations that stifle the growth of our industry. We need to bring those jobs, we need to bring that economy, and we need to bring that work and spirit back to the United States of America. And to get all that done, you need a representative who's all in. And I'll tell you what, I'm all in. You know what? Not only am I all in, I'm all in because these guys let me be all in. Let me thank my wife, Sandy, for all her support, and all my children for their support. Because as a family, we are all in. I can't do this on my own. I can't do this without my family. And you know what? I can't do this without all of you. I need your support. I need your support. I need your energy. I need your courage. We need together to reform Delaware and make our country the best place in America, we need to be the best state. We need to have the best productivity, the best workforce, and make America the best country in this world. To do this, volunteers, we have t-shirts. Sign up to volunteer, you get a t-shirt. What a bargain. Again, but unlike the government, I'm not giving anything away for free. I'm not going to just give you a t-shirt and then promise to give you a t-shirt next week. No, I'm actually going to ask you for work. Sign up to volunteer, we'll give you a t-shirt. And again, I'm all in because my family, so they just wanted to say something on this, take this opportunity to thank all of you for your support.
Hi, my name is Jamie Kovac. Thank you for supporting my dad for Congress. I like being in parades with my dad and meeting new people. If my dad becomes our congressman, he will work hard to make good laws for Delaware. Thank you.
I'm Emmy Kovac. Thanks for supporting my dad through his political campaign for U.S. Congress. He's worked really hard to get here, and he's not going to stop now. I've been really happy to help my dad out with his campaign, and it's been a really great experience. You've made the right choice, and he really deserves this. It means a lot to our family. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie Kovac. Thank you for supporting my dad, Tom Kovac. Since he's been in politics, I've gotten a chance to meet some incredible people in our community through food drives, cleanups, and other events. If my dad gets elected for the House of Representatives, he will work hard to make a difference in our state and country.
Thank you for support. We can do this in November. Take care. Thank you.
I think we got some rocking to do. I humbly accept the nomination for this office of Lieutenant Governor, and I receive it as a sacred trust that I believe is due to be returned to you in the form of return on investment in November, in the form of a victory. That is exactly what I intend to deliver to you. We have our work cut out for us, but the folks that are gathered in this room are the people that can make it happen. We are gathered together today in this room as leaders, and it is an honor to me to serve you, with you. I appreciate your involvement. This is the time to get to work. I invite you to pick up yard signs. You have a range of influence, and we want to leverage that influence, and it's exactly the people that are in this room that are going to push this race across the finish line in November. I encourage you to go to our website, find your place in the army of volunteers that are going to work shoulder to shoulder in a very diligent, dedicated, disciplined way. Our work has just begun, and we are going to work every day of every minute until November, until we flip this state and take this state back to where it needs to go, back to where we all know we can take it. Thank you. This is a tipping point election. We're either going to go in the direction of returning it to the common sense values and principles and the freedoms that our founding fathers risked their lives to create an America that we can all call home, or to a place that continues to be emasculated and eroded those same freedoms. And that will happen on our watch. We cannot and we will not let that happen. We remain one nation under God. As far as I can remember, and I think the facts prove me right when we were still teaching history in school, Delaware is the first state. Delaware has a unique DNA to be first, to show the nation what it takes to move in a way that is first. And that is the same DNA that's going to move us across the finish line, that historical DNA in November. And I commit to you to move with you. I thank God that we can ignite, reunite, and move together as a united party again across the finish line in November. One nation under God, indivisible, we move in this way across to the finish line. I thank you all. I thank you, and God bless you all for the victory that we can start to celebrate now. Thank you.
Insurance Commissioner, the man who's going to clean up the corruption in that office, the man who's going to get Delaware back on track, an honest man to do an honest job compared to the people that are there now. Ted Mobley.
I am not going to hold any of you too much longer. I just want to first and foremost give praise where praise is due to my Lord and to my Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Father. Thank you. To my wife, my better half, the love of my life, queen of my heart, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. To my colleague in this race, Mr. Jim Van Houten. I don't know where Jim is right now, but I just want to say to you, sir, God bless you. You're in my prayers every single night. If there's anything that I can do for you or for your family, please don't hesitate to let me know. God bless you. And to the Democrats, let me just say, this is a four-person race right now on the Democratic side. I think that they think that this is going to be an easy battle. I'm here to let them know that this battle is going to be fought on foreign soil. It's going to be fought in the city of Wilmington. It's going to be fought in the African American churches in Newcastle County. And it will be fought amongst women. And I stand ready, willing, and able, and we will get it done. We will win come November. God bless you all. Let's eat.
closing thoughts when the broadcast continues.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
Since the enactment of the 16th Amendment erected the first pillar of the progressive movement 99 years ago, professional politicians have dug America deeper and deeper into debt and danger. While our government racks up billions in debt each day, ordinary Americans are struggling to live within their increasingly limited means. Balancing budgets, innovating and finding better ways of doing things. So Delaware Republicans are offering their voters something new. Real people. With real ideas. People who make real paychecks and employ other real people. If government should be run the way we run our homes, does it not make sense to have real people running government? You have been assimilated.